Dr. Paul Nassif joins us tonight. Dr. Nassif, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, Jane, for having me.
It's good to have you. Listen, I'm a recovering alcoholic, okay? I have almost 16 years of sobriety. Hopefully in April I'll get there. I understand what it's like to be friends with somebody who's an alcoholic because I had friends who would kind of cover for me. I was a blackout drinker, and people would say, oh, she's just having a good time. And I know how it is. Does being friends with Charlie pose a lot of challenges for you, trying to be a good person, being a doctor, and being a neighbor? I mean, is it tough?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, when you say, you have friends that are alcoholics, and first of all, congratulations to you for being sober that many years.
Thank you.
And I have to tell you that of all my time with Charlie, I never had to hide anything because I've never seen him drink. We do things with our kids, our wives, we go out. So this is not a part of his life that I'm used to seeing, that I have seen. As a matter of fact, on the upcoming segment that I just heard a few seconds ago, it said something about he don't want me to call the police or something. None of that's true. That wasn't mentioned.
Say that again.
When you were just talking a few minutes ago, mentioned about he did not want me to call the police or the cops.
Okay.
And that's not true at all.
Okay, well, let me ask you about this. Let's get it out of the way because there's a little bit of a contradiction here. We'd like to get your take on it. Clear the air.
Sure. Sure.
You had told Showbiz Tonight, Brooke Anderson, exclusive interview, that he didn't sound inebriated on the phone when he called right before you called 911. And the 911 call we just heard says that you're telling the operator, it's your voice telling the 911 operator he sounds very, very inebriated. I totally get it, doctor, because I know what it's like to be friends with an addict. It's difficult. But can you explain the discrepancy there?
Yes, I mean, that's pretty easy for me to say. Number one, it's very early in the morning. I'm getting a phone call, and, I'm talking to a paramedic. So as a doctor, talking to a paramedic, even though I'm not Charlie's doctor, I'm his friend, I'm telling him what I heard. At that point, I did talk to Charlie for a few seconds. He was in a lot of pain. He did not sound that great, so he might have been intoxicated. But the bottom line is, I'm talking to the paramedics. I'm explaining what I've heard. The abdominal pain, possible chest pain, and he sounded very intoxicated. And again, that's me talking to them as a physician. But at the same point, Charlie's my friend. And so I'm going to protect him. I don't really have to go out and just keep talking about this thing. So, I'm not 100% sure. I'm just trying to kind of forget about it and move on. I just wanted to ask you,
and that's a good explanation. Now, today on The View, Whoopi Goldberg explained why she thinks Charlie Sheen is a functioning addict, and she also revealed some very, very personal secrets. Listen to this from ABC's The View. It's fascinating.
I was a functioning drug addict. I went to work because I knew if I didn't show up, a lot of people would be out of work and I wouldn't get a check and would not have the lifestyle that I needed to buy my drugs. I wet the bed. I pooped the bed. I did all kinds of stuff. And my roommate came back and said, what is going on? I said, there's something under the bed. Mm-hmm. Now, when I tell you that the bathroom was probably to where you are, Sherry, I was so scared, and that's when I knew. But, you have to get to that place. Not only did I hit bottom, but it was like, is that me?
Dr. Nassif, you said you never seen Charlie drink, but I got to tell you, he went into rehab the first time 21 years ago. He almost OD'd in 1998. He's been to rehab at least 3 times as recently as last year. He was taken to the hospital from the Plaza Hotel 3 months ago. He pleaded guilty to simple assault on his wife, Brooke, who he married at your home, and he just went on a 3-day bender, according to all these published reports. Is it possible you have never really seen him drink, not even when he got married to Brooke at your home? I'm just trying to get my head around that because I find it astounding, actually.
Yeah, I know. You find it hard to believe that I'm saying that, but I have to tell you. When I met Charlie, and that was right before they got married, he was not drinking. When he got married at my house, he was not drinking. For the numerous times that all of us went out together, he was not drinking. Now, there are times in our friendship that I didn't see him for a while. And maybe those are times that he faltered. whether it's, during the time of the Aspen trip or this recent time. I've talked to him on the phone numerous times. It's not like we go out every week or every other week, but every time I can say with 100% certainty, I have not seen him drink. That's me. Okay. Now, maybe with other people, fine, but not with me.
Let me ask you this. Everybody is
Sure.
saying, even his own daddy has a problem. In fact, his father's trying to get a conservatorship over him so he can take his finances away from him because he apparently feels that Charlie's spending tens of thousands of dollars on porn stars, etc.
Sure.
You were driving home with him from the hospital after this big incident. Does Charlie Sheen want to get sober, do you think?
We had a very long conversation on the way home and at his house, which, most of that, of course, I'm not going to discuss because that's between two friends. But obviously, like anybody, of course he wants to get better. I mean, obviously everyone knows he has a problem.
Of course, Doctor, with due respect, because there have been a lot of reports that he's holed up at his house. And Radar Online is saying that they got a text from him saying, can a guy just have a good time after this incident, after going to the hospital? So what was what can you tell me about your conversation on the ride home from the hospital? You're driving, he's sitting there, the entire world is hearing about this out-of-control 3-day bender. Porn stars are going on the air talking about how, he was chug-lugging vodka and all sorts of other things involving drugs, let's face it. What? You were talking about the upcoming Super Bowl?
No. As a matter of fact, I know TMZ kind of made a little poke at that type of thing, but I have to say it was light. But more importantly, the first part of it and everything, the first maybe 3/4 was very serious. We talked about some medical stuff. And again, that's some of the personal stuff, which I'm not going to discuss. The medical stuff, which has nothing to do with his drinking or any other type of, drugs that he might have been doing. And I have to tell you, since this is not a Charlie that I know, we didn't heavily get into what happened the night before, what's going on. I did talk about, what could happen to him if his life continues this way from the medical standpoint. And I can say that, obviously, like any friend would say. But, we talked about a lot of things. And, those are some of the basic things. Let
me ask you a question. I know real friends, okay? When I was in my problem, real friends were the ones who confronted me. My fair weather friends told me, you're a party animal. Do you feel that, given that anything you could say is not going to be as embarrassing as what we've already discussed, can you tell me at least, did you confront him about his problem? That's a yes or no.
I don't feel like discussing that, Jane. I'm sorry. I just don't want to.
Okay.
Just something that just. I can say this too. Obviously, let me maybe reiterate that or change that to a point. Obviously this is uncomfortable for me, and when someone has a problem as a friend, a good friend, which I feel Charlie is my good friend. He's done a lot of things for my wife and I, and obviously I'm going to talk to him about his problem, just like anyone would, and I'm going to discuss certain things with him. Obviously, I won't go into that aspect.
Did he seem resistant? That's just a yes or no.
No, he was listening with his ears wide open. Maybe the hospital problem that occurred might have put a little scare into him.